Jeremy Hambley, also known as the Quartering, is already warming up his diarrhea hot takes about Marvel's upcoming show, She-Hulk, which will be released on Disney+. The most dishonest fucking garbage, dude. Pure garbage. Yeah, they're gonna go hard on She-Hulk. Use our experiences and skills to reach out to others in need of a path forward. And based on what we've seen of the upcoming She-Hulk show on Disney+, that's exactly what Bruce is doing. Helping his cousin Jennifer manage her newly gamified Hulk form, beginning with the basics.
Your transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
The Hulk, or She-Hulk, is a response to anger or fear. And learning to control how she responds to those emotional states will allow her to be both She-Hulk and Jennifer Walters, attorney at law. The best of both worlds. But thanks to Bruce, she'll have a much smoother road ahead than he did. When it comes to the Incredible Hulk in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I seem to have a pretty solid track record of predictions, analysis, and just understanding the big green guy in general. So today I wanted to take a look at a couple of times that I've hit the nail on the head, including when I predicted the current ongoing grift from the anti-SJW doofuses
to promote a garbage series that nobody gives a f*** about.
And I've got a new prediction for the future of Bruce Banner in the MCU. Please be sure to subscribe if you're not already, hit the like button, let's go. So the video playing behind me is my essay on MCU Hulk from May of this year. The premise of the video is a response to a common complaint that I've seen about people really not liking the character arc of Bruce Banner in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I believe Bruce Banner's arc is one of the more profound ones in the MCU, at least to people with a certain set of experiences. But I looked at each appearance in the MCU through the lens of trauma and healing, and I actually think it's a pretty remarkable character arc. I used subtext from the films, along with my own experience and understanding of psychological trauma, the path of recovery, and ultimately trauma integration. Bruce reached the final stage of recovery, trauma integration. Integration is the most crucial phase of trauma recovery. Most of the stuff that I discussed in there was never explicitly said in any of the films, but I took a swing at what was being expressed through Bruce as far as I could tell. It's my favorite video I've done for a lot of reasons, and I've heard that from others as well. Before Thanos gets his bearings, Hulk gets a couple of solid hits in.
Well, that's what I want to do.
But very quickly, the Hulk is confounded by the savage skill Thanos unleashes in retaliation.
I applaud you for that. Absolutely. You know? Good. And now know that, of course, I'll come back at you with everything that I have. What do you... No. Ah!
So in She-Hulk Episode 1, Bruce explicitly states to his cousin Jen that dialectical behavioral therapy was crucial to him merging his two identities, the Hulk and the Bruce Banner identities. And this is what I said at the end of my video as well.
Dialectical behavioral therapy. It allows us to hold two opposing truths at the same time. First, we're going to practice some mindfulness with a few yoga techniques.
In order to integrate your trauma, you have to take these two aspects of yourself and merge them together and, learn to balance them. And through Episode 1 of She-Hulk, Bruce Banner just confirmed all of that.
Dialectical behavioral therapy is an evidence-based psychotherapy. It's clinical, not spiritual.
Despite it never being said in any of the previous appearances. So, score one for me. I also said that it looked like he would be helping her try to overcome some of the issues that he had faced, but hopefully, helping make it a little bit easier for her.
We have to make sure of your ability to tolerate the stress and regulate your emotions, especially your anger.
Although I didn't predict that she would have such a different and unique experience with being a Hulk due to being an entirely different character, like the show is expressed. She doesn't have the same experience with anger that he does. So she's able to remain conscious and remain Jen Walters even whenever she hulks out. And I think that's actually pretty great.
Here's the thing, Bruce. I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me.
As for a prediction about chuds that I made, back in 2020, the Quartering tweeted something about She-Hulk whenever it had been announced that it was going to be a comedy. So why is the quarter pounder with heart disease so worked up? Well, that's the industry he's in. The point is to set up his financial future now and reap the rewards later on when the show comes out. This grift becomes pretty obvious when you're able to see it for what it is. So he starts now by saying he doesn't care about this show. Nobody cares about this show except to laugh at it, of course. But that's just phase 1 of the grift. He'll definitely care and get quite worked up about any and everything he can once it comes time to catch She-Hulk in the YouTube algorithm. The hate train will be plenty warmed up by then, and the foundations of the bad show narrative will already be set. The Quartering and others like him are simply planting these seeds of revenue that'll be harvested when the show debuts. And he said that nobody cares about it.
In a show no one cares about.
Which, as we can tell, that's something that these guys like to say even whenever they very, very much care about it.
To get people excited about a show that no one cares about.
But he said then that nobody cares about this show, nobody's interested, and I said that of course he's interested. He's setting the stage now, he's planting the seeds of the grift over 2 years ago, and that whenever She-Hulk comes out eventually, he's going to be covering it, he's going to care, he's going to be talking about it. And as we can see, he's covered it several times already. So again, score 1 for Dane. Now, my prediction for the future of Bruce Banner, I had a feeling watching that first episode that there's something else going on with Bruce. He's a little too overconfident with having all of his issues in check. Now, maybe he's got all of his prior issues in check, but, there's little moments like him expressing grief for Tony Stark.
Yeah, me and Tony. Well, Tony mostly drank. He just sat around, complaining about Steve. It was a good time during a hard time.
When he tossed that boulder into orbit. That seemed kind of a little bit impulsive and almost out of control for a moment. And I started thinking, is this going to lead to World War Hulk? Now, to be clear, I don't think World War Hulk is going to happen in this season of She-Hulk, but I think that it's possible, maybe even likely, that by the end of this season, there will be a big step forward towards World War Hulk. There have been reports in the past of, a project about World War Hulk or something similar being in the pipe. And I don't like to speculate, fan theories and such, mostly just because I don't want to be wrong and have to say, I was wrong. But I think I might be right about this. And then after watching Movie Bob's review of She-Hulk, and he got to see the first 4 episodes, he didn't outright say it, but he danced around the idea that this could be leading to World War Hulk.
Oh, and also, by the way, here's where things are going to be going with Bruce. I won't spoil exactly how, but it looks like there's a lot more regular Hulk content coming in addition to She-Hulk, so that's interesting. Which is another thing that people seem to have been missing, and people being pissed off about this exchange between the two characters. It's a really interesting character beat between the two of them. Clearly not just about the fact that she's a woman and women deal with anger better than men. She deals with it better, but also this is a new thing for Bruce because, again, I'm not going to, go into too much spoilers. This is not the only Hulk-type character. That the real meat of this reveal about the anger and when you can change and when you cannot change and dealing with it, it's less about men and women stuff, and it's more about the fact of Bruce Banner, the Hulk, realizing that all of this work he's done on himself, about all of this stuff that he shows her, he's literally written a book about how Hulks work. And as it turns out, the whole thing about Hulk split into 2 personalities and one is always angry, that's not a Hulk problem, that's a Bruce problem. And that's not something he had considered, and it's clearly bothering him. The idea that we are not, done with Bruce the angry Hulk maybe still being a problem is a complication. Cool.
Anyway, I just wanted to pat myself on the back. And, I think it's pretty cool that I seem to have not only such a good grasp on the Hulk as a character in the MCU, but also the grift when it comes to anti-SJWs, the fandom menace, all that crap. I've got their number. If you're new to the channel, I'm happy to have you here. I hope you'll subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment letting me know if you have any predictions for where the Hulk's going to go or where the grift is going to go. We'll be talking about She-Hulk more on upcoming streams and such, so, this isn't the end of it. Remember, actual fandom means be an ambassador, not a gatekeeper. Oh, shit. Oh, no.
I went from a tiny twink to the muscle-bound freak you see before you.